Good morning, everyone. On behalf of Leeds Community Foundation and Leeds Bradford, it's a real pleasure to welcome everybody to this open grants briefing. I'm Shahid Molvi, Head of Grants at the Foundation, responsible for the grant-making function. As we are going through, if you do have any questions, feel free to post them using the chat function, and one of the team will answer the question there, or alternatively, you can hold on to it until the Q&A section at the end of the presentation and ask it there. Before I hand over to the team, let me introduce you to them. We've got a small, hard-working programs team that delivers the various grant programs, and they're going to be telling you a little bit about the funds that are open or about to open a little later on. So maybe I'll start off with Maria, if you want to introduce yourself.
Sorry, it wouldn't unmute. Hi everyone, I'm Maria Spadafora. I'm a Senior Programmes Officer with Leeds Community Foundation and Give Bradford.
Brilliant. Alex?
Morning everyone, I'm Alex Kupis. I'm also Senior Programmes Officer.
Laurie?
Good morning everyone, I'm Laurie Cummins. I'm a Programmes Officer here at Leeds Community Foundation and Give Bradford.
Caitlin?
Hi everyone, I'm Caitlin. I'm Grants Administrator for the team.
Jess, do you want to introduce yourself as well?
Hello, of course, yeah. Hi everyone, I'm Jess. I'm Communications Officer here for the team.
Okay, brilliant, thanks. So I'm going to hand over now to Alex, who's going to tell you a little bit more about the foundation and some more details about the process, etc., before leading into the programs themselves. So Alex, over to you.
Great, thanks Shahid. Morning everyone. So yeah, the first thing would be a bit about us if you haven't heard of us before or you need a bit of a refresher. So we're a community foundation that creates opportunities for all by working with partners to create positive impact across Leeds and Bradford. We generate and invest philanthropic giving as well as statutory funding to deliver grants and provide expertise to organisations that then support thousands of people across both regions. In 2022, we gave out 4.2 million, which equaled to 389 grants to 287 different organisations. So this is our vision, which I've just kind of already said, around city's opportunity for all working together. And these are some of the values that we have which underpins all our work. So being ambitious for everyone, responsive, empowering, and also challenging when necessary. So we'll start off with the application process. So all the information for any of our programs is on our website. Please make sure you read the criteria for each and every program that you do apply for, because they might differ. We use online application forms, and all supporting documents can be attached to the form as well. We include word count limits on all of the questions, but these are a maximum rather than a guideline. It's about being really clear about what your project is and what you are requesting. Please use the Save Draft button and submit when ready. If you would like to discuss your project with us, please do before submitting. We're here to help in any way we can. You can discuss your budget, what you're requesting, anything like that. And once it's submitted, we will send you an email saying that we've got your application. The process after that is your application is assessed, at which time we may contact you further for any information that's missing, or contact your referee if needed. If your application is then shortlisted, it will go to the panel for further consideration. A bit about our standard criteria. So like I said, each of the criteria for the different programs might differ, but this is something that underpins all of our different programs. So we only fund non-for-profit organisations such as registered charities, CICs, social enterprises. We also do, in some cases, fund unincorporated, unregistered groups, but please do check that on the criteria documents. You will need at least 3 unrelated independent trustees or directors with no significant control, a governing document, your own bank account with at least 2 signatories, a set of accounts or some sort of record that shows your income and expenditure for the year, and a safeguarding policy if you work with young people or adults at risk. So our decision-making process is based on recruiting independent panels for each of the programmes to ensure that it's fair and diverse. The panels represent kind of the sector, the funders, and the communities that they're supporting. The role of the panel is to bring an understanding of the local and strategic issues, and all decisions are agreed by majority vote. Some of the LCF staff might be present to support the panel members around the criteria and provide constructive feedback to all applicants. And lastly, around reporting and evaluation. So each programme does require an end of grant report, which are all online, and the forms will be sent to you if you've been successful in receiving funding for that programme. Some of the programmes also do require an interim report, but that will be outlined in your offer email as well. We're keen to understand the impact of the grant and capture information of what has been achieved, what you've learned, and what the outcomes are. We encourage all organisations to think about kind of this evaluation side of the grant at the start of the application, and you can also apply for evaluation costs too for your project if you need them. Please do consider how you will measure your impact and your outcomes during the project. You can use qualitative case studies, questionnaires, statistics. Please do, if possible, give us some feedback, some quotes, some photographs, even videos, but please also do seek permission before sharing. Sorry, my screen just froze then. Now we can move on to the open and upcoming programmes. Maria, over to you.
Yeah, just bear with me a sec. I've lost my notes and I need them. Right, so first up, we've got Leeds Civic Trust Community Fund. This actually launched this morning, so it's on our website now, and it closes on the 23rd of October. So we're really pleased to be working with Leeds Civic Trust again, and this is about supporting community organisations and activities based in Leeds. So we've got 2-year grants available of between £10,000 and £20,000, and they can be used to support activities and projects which respond to the theme celebration of place. And for this particular programme, Leeds Civic Trust prefer to be the main funder. So any grant request would need to reflect 50% or more of the overall costs. So grants, as I said, are split equally over 2 years, and activity based on when grants would be awarded would start from around January 2024 onwards. So what we mean by celebration of place. So we'd like to see local people engaged in activities, consultation, a combination of both, whatever that might be, in a way that celebrates a particular place in Leeds. It should be a place that still exists, so it can't be a historic building that's been knocked down, for example, and it might also be a place that's defined by a community of people, so it might be a street, for example. Leeds Civic Trust want to see a tangible, long-lasting output from this programme, so things like community gardens, murals, sculptures, something that will mark and celebrate the place in question. If you're thinking along the lines of projects that might capture like oral histories, exhibitions, things like that, also think about how they might be long lasting. So it might be online kind of archives and things, but some way to kind of make that tangible output available to people for years to come. So we understand that community engagement is important to a programme like this, and that means that engagement and consultation with people will determine what the actual outcome might be. So at the application stage, you might have a few ideas and suggestions in mind, but we also appreciate that those ideas might develop over the first year and become more solid in the second year. So it's okay to put some speculative ideas together, I guess, that you will talk to people about and involve them in determining what the final output will be. And then whatever your output might be, you'll also need to think about maintenance beyond the lifespan of the grant as well. So if you're going to put together a community garden, for example, how are you going to maintain that beyond the 2 years? As always, please read the criteria carefully before you apply, and we expect to be able to fund between 5 and 8 applications for this, so it will be quite competitive. Thank you. So next up, we've got Jimbo's fund. This has been running for a long time now. It's due to open on the 8th of November, closes 6th of January. And Jimbo's, as I said, been running for quite a few years, thanks to the generosity of Jim Heselden, who wanted to leave a legacy and ensure that people experiencing hardship could access support, particularly from the East Leeds area. Details are still to be confirmed on this programme, but we don't anticipate any major changes from previous rounds. So applicant organisations must be established, usually for 2 years or more, and have a good track record of working with communities in Leeds and be able to demonstrate that. Applications will normally need to demonstrate that they're supporting people experiencing hardship or some sort of disadvantage. The application needs to respond to an identified need. So we want to see that you've spoken to people, done consultation, for example, that sort of thing, that you know who you're going to be working with and why that need is there. And the funder prefers to see tangible outputs as well. So you need to demonstrate how the grant will be used to support people. In light of the ongoing cost of living issues we're all experiencing, we expect that a lot of community organisations might want to seek support towards things like community spaces, warm spaces, alongside more targeted support for people experiencing food and fuel poverty and other adverse effects of the crisis. We encourage applications that benefit anyone experiencing any sort of disadvantage. And that might include, but isn't restricted to, children and young people, people with learning disabilities, neurodivergencies, physical disabilities, older people, and so on. Jimbo's likes to support people in East Leeds in particular, but applications are welcome for the whole district. There's a few examples of past projects listed. As always, talk to the people you'll be working with about their needs and ensure that whatever you develop and apply for responds to them. This is always really heavily oversubscribed. We usually receive between 70 and 80 applications for this one, but generally can only fund around 20, so it's always very competitive, so just be mindful of that. And Jimbo's also prefers to fund at least 50% of costs. Decisions for that one will be circulated around mid-March, so activity would start late March, early April onwards. Thank you. Right, so next up we've got Climate Action Leeds Community Grants. So these are small micro grants of up to £1,500 for Leeds-based organisations with an income under £50,000. So there are lots of funders involved in this particular programme, and they really want to target those smaller, often unincorporated but constituted organisations with this particular programme. The current round is still open and the deadline is the 22nd of September, so still time to apply, but there will be another round in October. These activities should be focused on carbon reduction or being nature friendly or both. A couple of examples on the screen, but as always, we're keen to hear from you and your ideas. And the grants can be used for a range of things, so things like kickstarting local initiatives to reduce carbon, community composting, clothing swaps, reducing car use, cycling schemes, things like that, or even seed funding to help a little green group get established. So that's it on that one. Thank you.
Thanks, Maria. So I'll just be running through 2 programmes. The first one is the Bradford Fund Strategic Grants. So these are grants of £10,000, which is a fixed grant for 12 months. Both the opening and the deadline of the fund are yet to be confirmed, but it will be all on our website once it has launched. This fund focuses on covering core costs of organisations to work on developing strategic elements alongside the daily delivery. So it's enabling organisations to reflect on successes and challenges, identify any key priority areas they wish to focus on, and hopefully forward plan. There's not any real specific activities, but it covers more kind of, as I said, development areas that can be supported by this programme, which would be purpose, updating maybe your vision or your mission statement, having more of an awareness of local and national issues, and horizon scanning for any challenges, effective leadership. So you might want to recruit some new board members, restructure your staff, building up your networks and partnerships, looking at your funding model, your IT systems, and impact as well. So maybe also looking to have clearer measurements in place and demonstrating your social value. The next one is the Transforming Mental Health Grants. There are 2 funding streams for this one. For localities, it's up to £20,000 for 12 months, and for citywide, it's up to £50,000 for 12 months. The fund will be launching on the 30th of October, and there will be a separate briefing event for this programme. So we'll try and get that out to everyone as soon as possible. This programme is funded by West Yorkshire NHS Commissioning Board and is delivered alongside Forum Central and ourselves. And all the projects are looking to address complex mental health needs. The citywide projects that were up to 50,000 is aiming to support mental well-being and addressing the needs of specific groups. That includes older people, young people transitioning into adult services, and people disproportionately impacted by the cost of living crisis. The full list of those people that can be supported will be on the criteria document. Examples of what could be funded would be maybe supporting people around housing, social connections, physical health, forging strong links with people with lived experience, delivering sector services, and supporting the new hubs. The locality-based projects are looking to benefit more than one local care partnership area, and that's up to £20,000 per project. It can fund local activities to support people with mental health conditions with their recovery and the management of their condition. Examples could be social groups, hobby groups, family support, volunteering, and improving physical health. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to run through a few. Thanks for that, Alex. First off, we have the Manjit Wolstenholme Fund, which you can see there is funded through the Vanquis banking group. This has been going for quite a long time. It's to support projects in Bradford specifically, aimed at supporting young people to achieve their true potential, essentially. It's named in honour and set up in honour of Manjit Wolstenholme, who is a very inspirational, very successful business person who grew up in Bradford. So it's about enabling young people today to follow in her footsteps and achieve their true aims. So you can see there's a few examples of things that you could do. It can be kind of extracurricular projects, supporting young people to take the next steps in education, or to develop their business ideas, or just to expose them to new opportunities, parts of the workforce that they're not aware of, things like that. But as with all of our grants, it's about understanding what the young people need and want and helping them to achieve that. So yeah, that's open now and it closes at the end of the month. The Flint Family Fund is another one that's been going for a few years with us. Again, that's open now and this one closes at the end of October, so you've a while yet to apply. If you've been aware of this fund in previous rounds, something to note is that the criteria is now expanded a little bit, and it's less focused on sports and literacy and has a much wider focus on young people's mental well-being overall. The way to support that isn't very prescriptive, so it's really about, again, what the young people want themselves. That's in Leeds specifically, and while the grant size is up to £10,000, depending on what you need, you can split that across 1 or 2 years. Onto the microgrants. So the Leeds Fund microgrants are up to £2,500 in the Leeds Council area specifically. The next round of these will be opening in October. They'll be open throughout the month, closing at the end of that month. And it's really quite a vague description in our slideshow here, and that's because the point of the fund is to support your community, and it's up to you to tell us how you want to do that and how you can effectively do that. The priority for these as microgrants is small and emerging organisations. It's a small amount of money, but what you can do with it is quite flexible. So it could go towards your organisational development. People have used it in the past to write policies, conduct away days, get specific training for their staff, things like that, or it can go on specific projects and kind of part or fully fund those. And I won't linger too long on this one because it's exactly the same as the Leeds Fund microgrants, but it's in Bradford. Same timings, same criteria, same amounts. And I think that's the last one. Healthy Holidays is coming up again. It's a huge program that we've been running for quite a number of years to support young people over the holidays to remain healthy. This is a very specific program, so it's funded through the Department for Education. Each project funded needs to work across the school, summer, Easter and Christmas holidays, and include very specifically food for young people, physical activity for young people, and nutritional education. This is a complex program, so we'd encourage you to come to the separate briefing event or watch it online afterwards, which you'll see there is on a Tuesday, the 24th of October at 10 AM. There's a link there for the place. Obviously, you can't click that right now, but we'll be sending the slides around afterwards, so you'll have access to that there. Any questions?
Yeah. Any questions? Anybody? Sharing screen.
Hi, my name is Malona Williams. I'm based in Leeds. I'm a school therapist, but I currently work with my local church around the developmental of mental health for young people and youth. Just asking, are these grants only for already established projects that are running?
Which particular grants are you interested in?
Well, just the grants that have been listed so far, it seems that they are only for projects that already are up and running.
No, I mean, not necessarily. I mean, you could kind of look at the individual criteria. It can be different. So, for example, the microgrants are aimed at kind of smaller emerging organizations that might not have done any project work before, for example. Other programs, it could be for existing activity that is already ongoing, but they want to develop it in some way. So it kind of varies from fund to fund, depending on the priorities of the donor. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it's only for like existing projects or
right. Cool. Okay, thank you.
Ellie.
Hi there. Hi, I'm Ellie from Leeds Bank. I just wanted to ask about the Leeds Microfund grant. So I know you said it's for small emerging organisations. What is the kind of financial sort of threshold for annual income for that grant?
Take that, Laurie.
Yeah. Hi. So there's I believe there's an income threshold given on the criteria. I'm sorry, I can't remember it off the top of my head, but I think it's probably 750,000. Do check that though. We don't necessarily just base it on income though, just to say we recognise that those words can be quite vague and they mean different things for different organisations.
I think isn't it 75,000 for the microgrants?
As I say,
yeah. It's for smaller groups, so it'll be around that. I think it's 75,000.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, might be a figure for that then. All right, okay, thank you. Cheers.
Okay. Paul?
Morning, Chair. Morning, colleagues.
Nice.
Just a quick question again around Leeds Micro Fund grants. We've been fortunate enough to get to receive reasonable, well, good grants from our colleagues at LCF in previous years. Would that preclude us from applying for Leeds
Yeah, it won't preclude you, Paul, but obviously you'll be a lower priority than some of the other smaller emerging organisations, because the pot size isn't massive. I think it's about £10,000 per round, and if you're looking at £2,500 grants, we're looking at 4 grants. So obviously our preference would be to support the kind of more, the smaller organisations that might have difficulty securing, funding elsewhere, or larger funds elsewhere. But if you're already securing like 50,000, 60,000, etc. elsewhere, then it doesn't make you ineligible, but obviously the panel would take that into consideration.
Yeah, okay. Thanks ever so much, Hayed. Understood.
Okay.
Hi, it's June here. I wonder if I could ask something. I've not done this before.
Oh.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
What it is, it's this sort of broad outline of things. We've just kind of got a new constitution going, a new committee. And you mentioned that you need 3 non-related people to kind of back up applications and things. And I know we've chatted this over with our committee, and they're absolutely petrified that they're going to be made liable financially if things go wrong. And we've got our indemnity insurance upped a bit. We've paid a bit extra to try and cover that for them not to get into a state about it all. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. And we wouldn't want you to get into any trouble at all, June. I think what I'd advise is, can you book a governance call with one of the team? You can go on our website and we can kind of discuss the details of your organisation and the governance situation.
Sorry, what did you say? Book a what?
You can book a call with one of the team. It's on our website.
Okay.
It's called we call it a governance call, but it's basically a support call.
Okay.
Half an hour with one of the team, and we can kind of chat through any concerns that you've got.
Okay. Okay, yeah, I'll look on the website. Thanks very much indeed. That's great.
We can kind of go into more detail there then.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Anyone else? You in the chat.
Oh, hi there. Can I just ask a quick question?
Yes, go for it.
Well, it was, I'm from Bipolar UK, and we've got 2 peer support groups in Leeds. So I was really interested in the Transforming Mental Health grant. But I don't know whether, did you say there's going to be another Zoom call on that one specifically?
Yes, there is, on the 24th of October, I believe, at 10 a.m.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, no, sorry. I've got that wrong.
That's
Healthy Holidays. Sorry, I got mixed up.
Oh, okay.
When is it? Do you know, Martin or Alex? Is there a specific one on Transforming Mental Health?
Yeah, hi. It's the 30th of October.
There you go.
If you want to put your email in the chat, I'll make sure you've got the invitation, which has been issued by Forum Central for that event.
That would be brilliant. Yes, please. I'll pop it in the chat now. Thank you.
Right. Sorry for the confusion.
That's okay. No worries.
Georgina's asking if you need referees. Yes, you will need referees to be able to apply. If you're brand new to the foundation, we do take up references. Oh, Maria's answered it as well. That's pretty. Anyone else? Okay, then. Thanks so much, everybody, for attending. We'll be distributing the slides and the recording afterwards as well. And like I say, if you've got any further questions or queries during the office, or book a call with one of the team, we'll be happy to help. Have a good day, everyone.